tariff increase. The utility's acting CEO, Brian Molefe, has pleaded with NERSA to approve the application, saying it's essential to keep the lights on. He says part of the increase will be used to power gas turbines, which minimize power cuts. Eskom wants a total price increase of just over 25%. This includes the 12.69% already approved. That will take effect from the 1st of July. Paying more for electricity is not the only concern for consumers these days. A shortage of power has become something of a norm. We've learned to live with it, but what do we know about the use of coal in generating electricity and what it takes to keep the lights on? CEO of JIC Mining Services, Jacques joins us in studio now to shed more light on this. Jacques, good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Let's just start off with this. I understand that the Tegeta mining operation that you're involved in came online roughly 3 months ago. And you've been supplying Eskom with coal ever since then. Sure. What does it actually take for you to keep supplying in this sort of relentless way that helps to keep the lights on?
Morning, Joan, and thank you for the opportunity. It is indeed quite a challenge. It is a 24/7 operation, mainly focusing on 3 portions. One is the mining side of it, to generate enough what they call run-of-mine coal, in other words, freshly mined coal. Then you need to crush the coal down to the correct size and of course the correct quality, which needs to be sampled and checked as per Eskom specifications. And then you need to keep on feeding the logistical chain, which is literally a snake of trucks that form part of our daily life, from the loading point through the main gate and even up the main road sometimes. All right,
so there are 2 issues there that caught my attention, and the first one is the grade of coal that Eskom requires. My understanding is that during apartheid, export-grade coal was always sent out of the country, and our refineries and Eskom's equipment, basically its infrastructure, was designed to work on lower-grade coal. Is that still the case?
I'm not 100% sure in terms of the historical view, but what I can tell you at the moment is that Eskom has got a very specific quality of coal that they need from us. It is very stringently controlled. So every single stockpile that we ship to them is pre-approved. So we make a pile of coal that is ready to go to them. Samples are taken, sent to the lab, checked. If not meeting their expectations, then those are failed. We have to then produce another stockpile. Until it's not approved, we're not allowed to ship it to them.
So it's not just a case of pulling it out of the ground and shipping it off. How long does it actually take to analyze the coal and make sure that it meets their standards?
I must tell you that the process is quite efficient. The turnaround time is 24 hours. So if we send samples away this afternoon, by tomorrow afternoon it is approved, and day after in the morning we can ship. So you try and get into a cycle. One stockpile approved, another one under assessment, another one being built up.
But that also suggests that there isn't a sort of standardized quality that comes out of the same mine all the time.
That is quite correct. That is a function of the geology, in other words, the inherent quality of the coal that's lying underground. Hence the fact that every single stockpile has to be checked. Even though we have basic different grades of coal in the different seams that you get. So you get the 4th upper, 4th lower. The lower you go, the higher the quality of the seam. In other words, the deeper in the ground that you extract the coal from, the higher the quality normally. But you're quite correct. It's not uniform in quality. Every single one has to be tested.
Now, are you working in an open cast mine, or are you doing deep coal mining where you have to go quite deep underground?
No, we are in the fortunate position that our coal is quite near to the surface, which makes it possible to mine it in an open pit environment.
Does that make it cheaper to mine?
It does from a operational cost perspective. However, from a capital perspective, it is quite intensive because of the large fleet of mining machines that you need to buy at the beginning of the operation to enable you to, of course, open up the pit and continuously be able to mine it. But it is definitely less costly than underground mining.
A cost issue must also be the distance and the transportation of this coal to Eskom's facilities.
That is quite correct. In our particular agreement with Eskom, the logistical arrangement sits on the Eskom side. We are fortunate that our mine is approximately 1 kilometer from one of the railway stations that services the Majuba power station, and our material goes to Majuba, which is quite fortunate. So there's about half of the material that goes by rail and about half of it that goes by road.
In terms of storage, Jacques, I mean, how exactly is it stored? Is it stored in the silos at Majuba? Is there any coal that's lying out in the open with the threat of getting wet, which we understand makes it difficult to use?
To be quite honest with you, I'm not very familiar with the process on the Majuba side. I can tell you on our side, the demand for the coal is so high, there's hardly any time for storage. You know, we bring it out, we store it maximum for maybe 2 weeks while we process it, and then in the process, you know, it keeps on shipping out to Eskom.
And how much coal do you send Eskom on a daily basis?
We have an offtake agreement for 200,000 tons a month, and in the next 3 years we plan to double that to 400,000 tons a month.
Very interesting indeed, an aspect of the operation we haven't quite thought about because many of us simply wouldn't know how it works. Thanks very much for coming in to talk to us, Jacques, and filling us in on that. Jacques Roux is CEO of JIC Mining Services.